The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw Dating, preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your hosts, Christy Scales, Aisha Morrison, Nicole Hutchison, and Jess Navarez.
Welcome into Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys in the SWBC studio. I'm Nicole Hutchison alongside the lovelies, Aisha Morrison and Jess Navarez. Yeah,
Hello.
the lovelies.
The coffee.
You're
You're so sweet.
Yeah, the coffee's great.
It's lovely.
It's like it touches your. I'm not even a coffee person, but like the coffee here like touches your soul.
It really helps bring
Got
the
lipstick
energy
on my
back
cup.
a little bit. Well, do you put creamer in your coffee?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, some people don't. So
Yeah,
it's a
no.
little concerning.
That's red flag behavior. If
Red
somebody
flag.
just does not put anything in their coffee,
Yeah.
red flag
Then
behavior.
you would
telling
be
you right
throwing
now.
red flags like crazy in the military because I knew so many people that just drank it black, and I would just be like,
Gives
Yeah.
me
"I'm
chills.
scared of y'all. Let me stay away from you."
Gives me
No.
chills to think about nothing in coffee.
It
Our
hurts.
producer Jazz just said that she drinks black coffee.
It makes sense.
McJazzy.
Makes sense. we wish
Love you,
that they could
Jazzy.
hear
Love
you,
you,
Jazz.
Jazzy.
Can
I
you
was just
start-
gonna assume
I know.
that
We
you drink-
wish we. I really wish your reaction was queued up. That was perfect.
That's funny. Man, guys, ladies, sorry.
It's okay.
Tough day today with the news. Leighton Vander Esch being
Very.
out for the season and possibly, well, also CJ Goodwin without loss for the season, but a possibility that Leighton may not be able to continue his career. One, we're praying for him. I'm praying for him and his family because that's some tough news to go through. Yeah, I mean, what are y'all's thoughts with that? Yeah, I'll start with you, Aisha.
This game is so unforgiving, and there's times like even today I was looking at film, and you just watch what they do, and it's so normal to us. But when you see the contact like continuously and just how physical so much this game is, it's like it's crazy that these guys are doing this at a high level, and we talk about it on this show so much, the human element of this game, and remembering that these are people, and what happens during this during their tenure will affect them later on. And so very sad to see, especially since we've seen Leighton from a rookie, remembering when he got drafted and everything. And I think he proved a lot of people wrong in his play with, coming in and having to play through having the initial injury. It's tough. It sucks to hear. But more than anything, if that is the decision, I'm proud of him for making that decision when the time comes. And because it takes a lot when you work your whole life for something, the way they devote their bodies and their lives, and then to have it ripped away in this way, it's disheartening, but it's a part of the game. And I just really hope that he's able to, to persevere and see what else is out there for him, how he pivots, and what things look for him after this.
Yeah, Leighton's a guy that, like you said, Aisha, it's in our generation to grow up watching,
Yeah,
right?
that's
and
such a
so
good way to put it.
Starting as a fan, obviously, of the team and watching Leighton get drafted and then seeing how explosive he was his rookie year, you just knew something was special about him. And then now evolving into this new position in this new role here as, working journalist in the building and doing the podcast and getting to meet him and talk to him and really transitioning, taking the fan cap off and putting the journalist hat on. I have even more respect for him than I did beforehand, because when he talks, he's just so intelligent, not just about football, life in general. Anything you talk to Leighton about, you're going to learn something out of the conversation. I've had this heavy weight on my heart all day since hearing the news, because it is so unfortunate that could be the last time you see Leighton Vander Esch take the field. He deserves so much more than to go out in that way if that's what ends up happening. But also very proud of him, and I've just tried to wrap my head around he's 27 years old.
Yeah.
His wife is expecting. He has so much life ahead of him. So if that is the decision that is best for him, his wife, his family, then I respect the hell out of what he's done during his tenure here with the Dallas Cowboys. So always heartbreaking to see because you can't control injury. You can't control it. It's something he's persevered through since his time back in Boise. It was Boise State.
Boise State.
And he's continued to persevere through it. He's continued to push and push. And what breaks my heart the most is I was reading some articles as I was writing them this morning, but I was going back to training camp when I talked to him. And it's just so sad because Mike had said during the summer, this is the best shape Leighton has been in since his tenure here as head coach. Leighton has been on this upward climb. We talked about it, how Dan Quinn has made such a difference for his career. It's really sad, but it's it is sad. But I think his fingerprints will be in what you see out of Damone Clark and those younger guys as well that come in. It's special to have Damone still in the building and working and taking what Leighton taught him and putting it to good use as well.
And that's crazy because when I first got here, I didn't get a chance to. I think I got here only like a week before that happened.
Yeah.
And so I only got to speak with him one time, and then after that he got injured, and so he hadn't really been able to been in the building. But you could just tell the impact from hearing Damone Clark talk that Leighton had on him. And it just sucks because Leighton's basically our age. Like, I'm 26, you're the same age, 30. Like, he's basically our age. That's like us having to try and think about this, like being a journalist being ripped away from us.
Been there.
You know what I'm saying?
Been there. I
Really?
mean, on the other side of things, I mean, I don't know what he's dealing with. It's a neck injury, but anything like I mean, my military career was cut short from injury, and I had to pivot too. So I empathize and I understand. It happens so fast. Like, sometimes it just happens so fast. And I mean, you mentioned the fact that one thing about Leighton is he's so cerebral. He's so smart. Maybe he has a career in coaching.
Yeah.
I mean,
would love to see that.
that's I'm hoping that maybe that's something he pursues, because one thing about this defense, and even if Leighton was a little slower or he was dealing with something, his diagnosing is what really set up a lot of the defensive success. And we've heard the coaches talk about how even him not being on the field, you can still feel it because of his ability to read and to put guys in the right spot and things of that nature. So just wishing the best for him. But it's to your point.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
And I know, and I was in the military for 8 years. These guys have been playing football since they could walk, most of them.
Right.
It's what they dream of doing.
It's what they dream of doing. They put their whole lives, to some extent, they put their lives on the line. Let's just, I mean, when you look at it for what it is, and with a neck injury, things like that, that's, serious business. So,
It's also just to see this, I hate to say full circle, because I hope whatever he decides is something he's comfortable doing and that he's able to do. But talking to him at training camp, one of the best conversations that I will, and it's one of my favorite stories that I've done to date, and I will hold on to it forever, no matter what happens, is he talked about how Sean Lee came in and really mentored him as a younger player. Yeah. And Sean told him, when it's your turn, you'll be the next guy up to do it. And guess what he did? He worked with Damone Clark through Damone's rehab. Damone told me he was in there every day. Leighton was in there every day with him during that rehab process that he went through last year. And then, you kind of just see the circle of life continue of the veteran leadership continuing kind of generation by generation in that linebacker room. So I think it's special to see that Leighton continued that, and I have no doubt in my mind that Damone Clark will do the same thing because of that.
And with CJ, I mean, let's not forget about him. I do think CJ's been in this league a minute. He proved a crap ton of people wrong, earned his spot, became one of the best aces in the NFL. He's been so consistent, so reliable. I don't want to discount his loss as well. And, maybe we see him back next year. But, I mean, this gentleman, I don't know how long CJ's been in the league.
8
years. Has it been 8?
It's 8 years, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, and to find a home, being a special teams specialist and playing the game how he does, he has so much value as well to this team. So, we're going to have to persevere. We talk about, next man up and those things, but it is a little heavy because of these guys being gentlemen that have been here for quite some time. So,
Right.
we got to shake it off.
Yeah.
And CJ, sorry, real quick.
No, you're fine.
It's a tough day. It really, like, I've had a really heavy weight on my heart all day since hearing all of this. But CJ is so smart. I mean, we were talking about Leighton's intelligence, CJ's intelligence as well.
Team takes a lot.
It takes so much. There's so many logistics that when you really peel back all of the layers of what special teams is, he has dedicated his career to learning those logistics and making not just himself better, but being a good teammate and making everybody around him better as well. And so I hate to see his season come to an end too. He was somebody that I talked to a little bit more in the locker room this year, and fantastic person, fantastic player. Everything you want in a player is CJ Goodwin. And so wishing him the best for this injury and the recovery ahead for him. And so hopefully it's not the last we see of CJ Goodwin, but really still a devastating blow to take all in one day.
Yeah, I believe he'd undergo surgery on Friday. I'm not mistaken. So yeah, praying for the best for him, praying for the best for Leighton, and hopefully it is not a career-ending injury. But let's go ahead and move forward. Let's talk about this offense, y'all. I know y'all love this offense because I'm loving the way this offense is playing. I mean, you talk about, of course, the records. We talked about that yesterday being broken with CD, the way that Dak's been playing. I mean, I guess you can say that the Giants was kind of a game that they should have been performing like that, right?
Absolutely.
But you still have to give this team credit about the way that they have just constantly been improving the past couple of weeks. 4 games, really.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it starts with the offensive line. Mike McCarthy mentioned that the protection is improving for several reasons. We called last week to have some instances where they helped out Terrence Steele. You saw that. I mean, Tony Pollard, for as much as people are complaining about his run ability and things of that nature, what he is doing in pass pro is incredible because his awareness just seems up, and they did some things to kind of tight ends, running backs to help out Terrence Steele and protection. This run game saw some bright spots. Some bright spots. You know what I'm saying? Like they're still trying to figure things out, but I'm kind of at a point with the offensive line where I'm like, if you're going to be complimentary in the run game, but your aerial attack is where it's at, let's just call it what it is at this point, because this offensive line is just not consistently winning the line of scrimmage, and they're having a lot of trouble getting to like the second level. But that's partially because teams are loading the box. Yeah, they're daring you to do it. And the offensive line is having trouble getting the last guy, which is, I don't think that's what it's called, but I call him a robber. I know that that's not the correct term, but that's what I look at them as, because they stealing. Yeah. They stealing yards. Like, they just in there, you know.
Mr. Steal your yards?
Please. And so, yeah, really, this is offensive line, is that they're having trouble getting the free player, getting to the second level consistently. But I will say that Mike McCarthy is figuring out ways to run the ball at an efficient rate, and it's efficient enough to where they can get the play action involved and be productive in the pass. So
you said yesterday the pass is setting up the run.
It is.
And that's okay for them to be able to do that. Usually it's the run sets up the pass.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Okay.
We're evolving out here.
We're evolving.
But with a West Coast offensive system, that's going to be the case.
That's the case.
And that's the difference between, I think, people forget that when you talk about the West Coast offense, it is set up for the passing game. It's not necessarily a run-heavy kind of offense. It can be if you build it up the right way, but I think people tend to forget that when they're analyzing what this offense has done so far this season, especially when you're comparing it to a Kellen Moore run-heavy 1-2 punch offensive scheme. And so, passing, opening up the run game, fantastic to see. But there are glimmers of hope in this run game. There's a lot of glimmers of hope that should get people excited, because here's the thing. The Cowboys didn't do what they did on Sunday against the Giants. It'd be a different conversation. If they had no run game, people would be like, oh, run game, where is it? It is definitely not in the room with us. It's not in Frisco. It's not in Texas. Like, people would be freaking out a little bit more. So although people are kind of discrediting this win for the Cowboys a little bit to say this is what they should have done, Wouldn't it say more about them if they didn't do it? I mean, it's kind of frustrating that this team can go out and have a good win and they're still not given the credit that they deserve for the improvements that they clearly put into this win. And yes, they should have won this game, but they also won this game within themselves by not creating self-inflicted wounds that they have been in weeks past.
Fair.
So the way I see this offense specifically is it does come down to the offensive line. Aisha, I'm glad you brought that up. But it also comes down to what you're scheming around here. And I think now they're in a point where they're kind of in this groove, especially Mike McCarthy and the play calling, to adjust and be able to scheme around what you know is kind of, I don't want to say a weakness, but a drop-off point in your offense. So that right side of the line, not going to really scheme the runs to go on that side. And that's kind of what you saw going back to this game. Tony Pollard, Rico Dowdle finding those holes on the left side of the line where the strength was a little bit heavier than weeks prior. But that's not to say that right side of the line doesn't need to continue to kind of pick it up a little bit. They will. Terrence Steele giving him all the flowers he deserves for this game because a much better game improvement should make everybody excited for what's to come.
It kind of goes back to what Mike McCarthy was saying. They're starting to learn their personnel.
Right.
They're starting to learn their personnel, and that's what he said maybe a couple of weeks ago, is that in Green Bay he knew his personnel very well. So now he's starting to see, okay, B. Cooks is that good vertical threat, right?
He can do the crossers.
Exactly. He's starting to see what kind of runs Rico Dowdle can do, and Tony Pollard. So now they're starting to figure out what their personnel can do, and I think that's what's really skyrocketed this offense the past 4 games, and this offensive line too. I know Tyler Smith had told me that it kind of went back to behind the scenes with helping Terrence Steele just build his confidence. So they've really just been like talking him up to just really kind of get him through those bad couple of games. So that's kind of helped as well.
No, and I'm so glad that you mentioned what you mentioned about Mike McCarthy saying learning your personnel. Whoo, baby. It's funny.
Spoke to you.
It's funny. Yes, it did. It did something for me because a lot of coaches will say, no, this is my scheme. This is what we're going to do.
And figure it out.
But to say, okay, this is what you do well. This is what you do well. Also, too, we talk about stealing. They've been stealing. Brian Schottenheimer mentioned in his presser that, they looked around the league at the bye. And since then, the Cowboys' motion has been up. Their shifts, their motion, the things they're doing last minute at the snap, spacing, to help out spacing, because that's been a problem this season, is that you see 2 wide receivers going in the same area, or you see guys colliding and things like that. The spacing just helps open up those little bitty seams. Maybe it is to a Terrence Steele side, just to give him a little bit more time to engage. And so, the Cowboys rank 8th in shift and motion rate. Before they were 14th. And now, even the bunch formations where they're winning in 11 personnel. 11 personnel is when you have 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and wait. You have 1 running back, 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers, right? Yes. So, and what they're doing bunch formations, and they're lining up these guys. Like, so you'll see CD, B. Cooks, and, I don't know, Jalen Tolbert or whoever right next to each other. That's causing conflict, and that's making it hard for teams to beat you in man. And that's improvement, because a lot of the start of the season was very stagnant at the line of scrimmage. It was like you were making it easier for defenses to know what you were doing, and it was easy for them to key in on your plays. Now they're incorporating some shifts, some motions, some of the jet sweeps, some of those things, and it's really opening up the offense. I love seeing a coach that is okay with evolving and looking themselves in the mirror and be like, hey, bruh,
this ain't working.
And it takes fortitude to do that. And also, too, it sounds like Shotty said that they had good communication and discussions with the players. Open door policy. It's something that we had in the military, and I can tell you it saves lives on that side, and I'm sure that in football it definitely opens up the conversation for improvement. So I'm glad that the players have input in this offense, because you're kind of starting to see that input open up this passing game specifically. I'm like, we passing the ball downfield?
Stop.
20 yards. I mean, it's the truth. Remember at the beginning of the season, we were like, where's the big play? Where's the downfield threat? Where's the explosion? We was pissed.
Yeah.
And
I kept asking, where's the big play? Is it in the room with us?
she said, I don't know where it is. So
Can't see it.
Yeah, I mean,
see it now. It's
yeah,
right
I think that the improvements that they're making are kind of, they fill in what the rest of the NFL's doing.
Yeah.
Which is great. And it also, too, I hope that in practice it allows your defense to get a feel, too, of kind of how offenses in the league are playing things, too, with the crossers, the deep crossers, over routes, all that stuff. Those are the things that your defense struggles with. Hey, man, hit that mess in practice. Get some practice, because it's not things that they were doing schematically last year, really. So I'm like, okay, I'm okay with the improvements. I think this is our identity now. What do y'all think?
I think it is.
I think this is the identity. You run situationally and efficiently, but we are an aerial attack with a complementary run game. What do you guys think?
I think it is. I think this is the identity that they were trying to figure out in the first couple of weeks, but they just, again, it goes back to not knowing what your personnel can do. And now that you have 10 weeks under your belt, I hope you would have and know your personnel by now.
Well,
but yeah, I mean, it takes time. So, I'm just saying.
I hope so.
But no, like, I mean, 10 weeks into the season, I would hope you know what your guys can do. And now you just take advantage of staying on, like, when you're playing games like the Panthers and the Giants, you just keep at it. So it prepares you for those games against the Bills, the Eagles, and, you know, so it just builds that confidence. And I think that that's where they're at right now, just building that confidence to know that, hey, this is our identity. We're going to go ahead and make sure we display that every game.
yeah, and I also want to point out, too, a couple of factors that go into that. September football is very different than October and November,
Baby,
December
it's preseason.
football.
It's preseason.
It pretty much is, and goes to my next point. You didn't have a preseason from your starting personnel. Your younger guys do, which is why they gained their footing, I believe, a little bit quicker than the veterans did. There's nothing wrong with that. Look, if it means that they're healthy by the end of the season, I'm cool with sitting starters for preseason. I really am. But then you go back to the schedule. And let's take a little trip to memory lane back to the first couple of weeks. The Giants, obviously away. And then you had, that was your rain game. So remember, you're not going to see anything really with a rain game to play it safe week 1 of the season. So you weren't going to see anything there. The Jets, also a little bit of a weird opponent. The Cardinals, that was the first setback, we'll call it, of the season. You had the Patriots, another high. And then, of course, the 49ers game came. It was another bit of a low there as well. And then from there, that bye week was so crucial for what you're seeing now with this Dallas Cowboys team. We were talking about it back then. This bye week couldn't come at a better time in terms of injury. Looking back and seeing it in hindsight, it couldn't have come at a better time for the meetings and discussions that need to be had to project this team to what you're starting to see now. So yeah, I think you're seeing a shift in identity, and that's okay, but we got to let it go. We got to let go what you think the Cowboys offense is, and you have to accept what it actually is now, because they're two different things, and that's okay.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and take our first break. You're watching Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll be right back.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that 6th ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Experience the most electrifying event of the holiday season, Cowboys Christmas Extravaganza, powered by Reliant. Every Friday and Saturday night from November 17th through December 16th, Cowboys Christmas Extravaganza ignites the star in Frisco with an unforgettable holiday performance, showcasing 65 performers, including the world-renowned Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, Santa Claus, and appearances from your favorite Dallas Cowboys heroes. Visit thestardistrict.com for more information.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Excited.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
It's the tree's up outside of the Ford Center.
Yeah.
You haven't been here yet.
Yeah.
In Frisco, the tree is up. It is beautiful, and it looks like I'm gonna say it looks like holiday season. Doesn't necessarily feel like that when it's 75 degrees here in Frisco, but
well, definitely
we do what
holiday
we
season.
can. Yeah.
No, for sure. And today, of course, the Cowboys players went to the Salvation Army and gave back. It was so cool to see those guys like smiling.
They love
and
that.
so
Yeah.
happy to give. Feed families. And Michael Gallup, it was actually his first time doing it, so like he was all smiles. He was all smiles.
He loves that.
He loves that.
It's
So-
sorry, I know
No,
we're
you're
not talking
fine,
about
you're
offense,
fine.
but sorry, I was listening back to my interview.
You have to apologize.
I was trying to figure out where I was going to start with this. I was listening back to my interview with MG this morning, post game on Sunday.
Yeah.
And this guy, I asked him, how are you feeling right now? What is your excitement level? He said, it's not even, the first thing he tells me, it's not even about getting inside the box. It's about hearing that crowd cheer and seeing my brothers eat. So that's the first thing MG said after a rejuvenating game for him. That wasn't what he was even thinking about. So just reminded me to see.
I love that
Yeah.
guy. He's great.
Fantastic player. Fantastic person. We stan MG.
Yes. We also stand DK. Wait, wow. I'm so slow. DP. So that was a slow moment for me. And I was thinking Dak, but I was like, that slow moment, y'all. I'm sorry.
I sure was like,
I was like, DK, who is that?
I
Like,
know
I'm going
we in
down the
Texas,
road.
but baby, Dr. Pepper. Listen,
Sorry. I'm sorry.
you
that
know
was
Texas
like,
be they
I didn't
don't
even
play
think of
about
that.
that Dr.
That was-
Pepper.
I don't even know.
I got
didn't even
nervous.
think
I was
Dr.
like, she
Pepper.
one of them.
we're gonna let me make it today, please.
It's okay.
Wow. Because I was thinking Dak in my head.
DP.
D-
DP.
And then
Dak Prescott.
The DK just came to my head.
I love
Anyways,
that. It's okay.
Lord forgive me. DP, we stand DP on a 4-game roll. His 10th 400 passing yard game. I think now he's one of 2 since 2018. That's the other guys, Patrick Mahomes, who have thrown for 10 400-yard passing games in their career. So pretty dope. I don't know. I think he's in the MVP discussion.
Oh yeah, if you keep playing like this, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter who you play against when you're as efficient as he's been. But I wrote down, like, we talked about the offensive line. QB is very aware of their offensive line. QB is very aware of the offensive line. He's shifting pressure. He's communicating at the line. But the way that he's feeling pressure in the pocket and escaping, and it's so sudden. And I think that's something we haven't seen from him in a while. Is like obviously him adding the mobility to his game again. I can't even explain how much it makes me happy to see him playing in this mode again, because I think a lot of people didn't know if he was going to be able to do it again after the ankle injury and just kind of how things happen with him. Yo, like, if you're getting this Dak where he's feeling the game and he's able to take some contact sometimes and he's rolling out the pocket with this offensive line not still trying to figure out its gelling and stuff, especially in pass pro, the way that he's evading pressure and making big things happen, looking downfield, because that's another thing too. He's looking to push the ball downfield, and that's something that, again, we've been kind of looking for. So it's no mistake he has a good deep ball. We've been known that. We just ain't seen it consistently. So, I mean, to your point, the quarterback is playing really good football right now. He's making people around him better, even in the process. And he is also very aware of this offensive line and how to maneuver this offensive line right now. And I think that is important. It's important. It's going to be important to your success moving forward. So he's balling, dude. I was watching him this morning, and I was like, that's how you feel, boss?
Yeah.
Like, some of these passes to CeeDee Lamb are just like...
I was just thinking the word to
Insane.
me, it comes to mind is like he's making arrogant passes. Not like bad arrogant. Yeah. Like he's just like
it's like Velcro. It's like it's like a Velcro rope or something like to where the ball. I mean, CD had a catch.
I really wish you guys could have seen that.
What is that?
I don't know what that was.
That's Velcro. It's like,
oh, okay.
But CD had a catch where he was like low to the ground and he positioned.
I don't know. I'm so tired.
That's okay.
Sorry, y'all.
No, that's okay. But yeah, CD had a play where he was positioned like low to the ground and he kind of contorted his body and made the grab. And it's like shoestring type stuff. I mean, they're playing at a high level, but the connection to Brandon Cooks, I think, is obviously gonna be important moving forward. Yeah. I feel like their rhythm and their flow getting together, like their chemistry. I felt like we saw some of the stuff you saw at training camp. I know you saw at training camp where they were just on the money connected. You kind of seeing that connection kind of come to fruition. It's gonna be real important as the season goes on. Is for it to continue, for it to not just be the Giants game. For it to continue to be a thing where he's implemented in this offense consistently. Yeah,
38 points per game since the bye week.
Mercy.
Cha-ching. As far as Dak, you want to talk about a quarterback that takes total control and command of his offense and every aspect of it around him. It's Dak Prescott. That is exactly what he's doing. Is he has completely... It's fascinating to see because, again, you talk about the longest tenured quarterback now in the NFC. And you forget that, right? You really
that was
do.
Drafted by this team. Let's just also throw it out.
Correct. A little extra layer there. Spitting bars over here, Nicole. And you don't rarely see, or you rarely see, I should say, an 8-year veteran step up their game in the way that Dak Prescott is. That I don't want to say late in their career, but continuing to improve that late.
This is about the time. Yeah. It's about the time.
You usually see what you're going to see from your 8-year veteran quarterback on a consistent basis at this point. What I really appreciate about Dak's game is he's continued to step it up and challenge himself to overcome every single bit of adversity within his football career. His life in general, we know his story and how amazing that is. But how you're 8 years into your career, and the missing ingredient was Dak being more mobile. And given we understand why he wasn't post ankle injury, we understand that. But him saying, "I'm fearless. I'm not going to let that really mess with my mind," and you're seeing a whole Dak Prescott that's really just, it sounds simple, he's going out there and he's just playing his best football. He's trusting his guys around him. I think that's such a big part of it. He's trusting CD, he trusts Brandon Cooks, he trusts even this offensive line. And what I really appreciate about Dak's game is there's no, it's a play-by-play thing with him, because given there's been some dropped passes and things like that, he still gives his guys a shot because he knows that they're capable of doing what he sees them do. So a leader, continue to see it, and just really, really excited for what December football will look like for Dak Prescott.
How long do you feel like this offense can keep up this play consistently? Do you feel like this is a... hey, we're only going to do this on the games that we should win? Yeah. Or do you all believe that they have the capability to do this on the big stages?
I mean, they, quite honestly, minus those 2 penalties against Philly at the end, they took it to them in their house. Yeah. I felt like this offense was efficient even in that game and some of the things that they did. So, I mean, I'm not saying that Philly's secondary's that good, but still, I mean, when you talk about the big stage, can they play well? They played well. It fell apart at the end with the penalties and stuff, so you're asking for that stuff to be cleaned up. But as far as like the ability, I mean, if this offensive line can protect, these raw receivers are going to play for their quarterback. Yep. And I mean, we've seen a sprinkle of Jalen Brooks, we've seen a sprinkle of Tolbert. We don't know when Turpin's coming back, but I mean, you have quite a few weapons at your disposal that you can use in the passing game. So to me, if they're going to keep scheming it the way that they're scheming it, but also it's up to the offensive line. If they're going to pass protect as well as they've been kind of showing they can, man, like I think that we can expect to see this offense continue to do a lot through the air. And then the run game is just a compliment.
Yeah. I was going to say, too, that's why you wanted to see the run game be established this week. So that way you can rely on it a little bit more in maybe unfavorable matchups where the passing game is going to have to take a little tick down because of weather or because of temperature, air temperature, anything, because of unfavorable matchups. I mean, there's many factors that could go into taking a tick down in your passing game for Dak Prescott in these matchups going forward. Not saying he's afraid of a challenge. He's definitely not. But if it makes more sense to run in these games, then you know you have a solid run game. And that's why I think it was just so important that you saw the 168 rushing yards from Rico and Tony, and you saw a little bit of Deuce in there, and just overall in this last game, getting your footing and understanding that's the first step we're going to take to establish it a little more. I love that. So excited to see a little bit more of Tony and Rico. 1-2 punch. Oop. Yeah.
Okay. I think that it's going to just take them to get that one big game win, and then it's wraps after that.
Absolutely. And then with Mike McCarthy mentioned that I feel like regardless if the Panthers are bad or not, the Cowboys need to win on the road.
They do. It gives them that great momentum heading into the next
year. So to your point,
games.
I believe like they need to establish confidence in being able to win on the road this year. They were pretty good on the road last year, I felt like. So hostile environments is you against the whole world at that point. Like I'm looking for them to this next game establish winning on the road, because again, I think some of it sometimes can be mental. I think sometimes there can be lapses, and they've been the most penalized on the road. So to me,
I wonder why.
I mean,
sus.
Well, but even in the run game this week, I will say, man, Dexter Lawrence is just a bulldozer, dude. They had to, and even though I know people will look at the Giants and be like, oh, it's favorable, whatever the case may be, Dexter Lawrence, dog, the way that he took double teams and triple teams sometimes and still gave it, he's just that guy. So they did have some adversity running the ball. It wasn't easy in any way, shape, or form, because they do have some guys that can be disruptive in that on that Giants defensive line. So I just wanted to say that.
No, you're fine.
Looking ahead at the schedule, though, so they have the Panthers on Sunday and then 3 straight primetime games after that.
Of course.
So you have a Thursday night Thanksgiving against the Commanders, a Thursday night again against the Seahawks, and then, or no, excuse me,
30th, right?
yes, and then you have the Eagles again right after that.
They're
so
the 10th.
December 10th, yes, at 8:20 p.m.
It's about to get serious.
And then they have the Lions after that, right?
And then you have the Bills,
Or am I crazy?
the Dolphins, the Lions, and then the Commanders again, but we talked about this, and we talked about this after the Philly loss, is the Eagles also don't have an easy schedule right now either. So week 10, they had their bye week. They'll play the Chiefs this week, the Bills, the Niners, and then the Cowboys. If you go back to watch kind of how banged up the Cowboys were post San Francisco and a big push to why they needed that bye week to get healthy, it will be interesting to see
how the Eagles come
out of that game to go into that December 10th game against the Cowboys. Because, look, if all plays in the Cowboys' favor here, Philly could see some losses here in the next couple of weeks.
And there's no update status on Jalen either.
They're not going to say it.
They're not going to say it.
It's a bye, but
and
it's
also
a bye
he's
week
coming
too.
out of the bye week, so he's going to feel fresh. He's going to feel fresh, but I don't know, guys.
It's just, we gotta I want them to just go play ball, and just let the NFC fall how it does. Because baby, last year I believe it went to week 16.
It went
that
all
we
the way to
still
the
didn't
end.
know who was gonna be the number 1 seed. So for me, and even with the Cowboys, if they can establish one home game, I would even be. I would take
An
that.
away game?
Yeah.
One home game. In the playoffs.
Oh.
You can establish. You can get one at least. Yeah.
My brain was.
No, it's
I
okay.
thought you were talking about like winning one on the road. I was we
Okay.
want more
I said
than
DK
one.
earlier, so we're both.
It's okay.
No, but I'm looking at dang, we didn't even talk about the defense, but I think that what's to your point, this next part of the schedule is going to be important. But baby, if looking at that schedule, depending on how they're either going to be battle tested,
Yeah.
or they're going to be dinged up. So it's like, hey man, let's be battle tested. They're gonna experience a lot of different types of schemes and looks and defenses and fronts. They'll be prepared for the playoffs with this schedule, and that's one reason why I'm not like crying about it, because it is a good. I think it's so many various teams on there that you're gonna see that in preparation to the playoffs, they'll have some experience. So, yeah, man, like it's about to get real, y'all.
Yeah,
it's about to get real. It's about to get cold.
Well, hopefully. I mean, hopefully here in Frisco it gets cold, because not feeling like winter.
Y'all both got tight when I said that.
We're going to take a break real quick. You're watching Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll be right back.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that 6th ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish. Nachos, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Frame-worthy family holiday photo with Santa at the Star, presented by Monument Realty. Santa Claus will be at his Cowboys-themed Christmas cottage in the Star District from November 17th through December 24th. Book your visit before December 9th and save $5 with code STAR5. Visit thestardistrict.com/Santa for more info. Save $5. You know how I feel about that. Anything free or anything saving money, I love it.
Oh, same.
Cha-ching.
Same.
We love that.
All right, y'all, real quick. Not real quick, sorry. Sorry. What is my bad. Okay, so I know Mike McCarthy actually talked yesterday about the personnel decision they have to make. Is that linebacker? We got a chance to see Rashaan Evans play, get his first start. But he's already been elevated 3 times. What do you feel the Cowboys should do within that your face.
Whoa. I'm listening.
I'm like, whoa.
I'm going to finish your question.
Oh, what do y'all feel the Cowboys should do in that room? Because you had Damone Clark, of course, playing behind Leighton, Vander, Esch, filling in that spot. Then Marquise Bell playing like an off-ball linebacker. So there's a lot of pieces going on. Yo, your face. I'm sorry. What?
I just don't, they ain't got no choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
I mean, I did like a few of the run stops I saw from him, and it sounds like, Dan Quinn and those guys talked about that was the plan for him to get more snaps and stuff because, I just don't know if you have a choice at this point where you are in the season and the depth at linebacker. You might have to go ahead and do that anyway. So, I think he'll fit. And the few snaps that I did watch from him, he looked decisive, he looked fast, he looked fine. So I think it's more so just the ramp up like they talk about and really kind of incorporating him into the defense. But baby, you need a linebacker because when they put Devin Harper, when they put Devin Harper out there, they waived him. I don't think they expected for anyone to pick him up in Cincinnati. Was like, who's that? Who's that over there?
Dibs.
Let's get him over here.
Yeah.
And that really put a damper to me on a lot of your linebacker depth. Obviously, freaking DeMarvion Overshown can't plan for ACL. Wishing them the best, but baby,
do
they have a choice? Do you think they have a choice? Especially with the Leighton news.
Yeah.
I mean,
you
not really.
have to.
And that's no shade to him. It's just, it's interesting to go back in context to yesterday before we knew anything about Leighton, really, and kind of Mike McCarthy having this discussion saying, we have some decisions to make. But then you also can peel that back a layer to say, well, is that why they elevated elevated him again for the third time as kind of your make or break tryout moment.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And it could be like, hey, how did you perform right now? Because we kind of are seeing the tea leaves come to fruition for Leighton at that point, and I'm just speculating here. There's no, there's
no
weight,
official news.
there's no weight in what I'm saying at all.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the tea leaves kind of shook out. To me, it seemed like this was his tryout game for that spot. Because again, it's not something that you're just given here. Whether they're short or short in depth in that room or not, he had to earn it. He has to earn that position. He has to earn those snaps. He has to earn that play time. So that's kind of what it seems like to me looking back now, knowing what we know now. But yeah, look, they have to figure something out. They have a long season to go.
Yeah.
You officially can't wait to see what the news is for Leighton. You know now.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to plan accordingly, which I don't think they waited until this moment to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, this constant conversation, constant communication with that side of the building. So I think you'll see more of him, hopefully. We don't know, but you need the depth.
Well, I mean, you want the linebackers to be playing well because you don't want to also I don't know. I'll say the DTs have been playing well. Jonathan Hankins, saw Mozzie Smith do some things. Neville Gallimore might have had his best game that we've seen him had in a minute.
You mean you want him to give you Gallimore?
Please. Chauncey Golston was involved in the run game, and with these DTs kind of playing the way that they're playing, and making things difficult for the running backs, I feel like, now you know I'm working. I feel like that the linebacker play, and as what it's been so far, is definitely benefited from the DT play being better. I was looking up a stat, talking to my guy Skywalker Steele. We talked about the run defense overall. Last year, the Cowboys they allowed 4.4 yards a carry last year. This year, they're down to 3.6. So there has been a concerted effort, as Mike McCarthy said, to stop the run. And a lot of that has to do with your DTs allowing your linebackers to play free. I'm really like, whoever is going to be in their linebacker, we need them to be aggressive and feel with certainty when these DTs are holding up these double teams and stuff. So whoever him is, him better come play. Let's go. All right, well, let's just, I guess.
Literally, let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. We're going to talk about this matchup starting tomorrow. But that'll do it for today's episode of Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!